in order to protect their homeland. The Chinese have never thought of giving up desert greening. Until now, China has made amazing achievements in desert greening. Large areas of desertification have been turned into farmland. People have planted food and large forests, and millions of people have benefited from the improvement of land use. This news shocked the world. At that time, Australia, Arabia, Algeria and other countries also sent scientists to China to understand the situation in person. They were proud of China when they saw the changes in desert greening in China. Let's take a look at 4 of the more successful desert governance in China. The first one, Kubuki Desert. This desert is currently the only desert greening in the world that is relatively successful. The coverage of desert plants ranges from 0 to 53%, which can be said to be a miracle. This desert is in the plateau area, covering an area of 1.45 million hectares, but the average annual rainfall is only about 250 millimeters. In fact, 3,000 years ago, this place was not a desert but a forest area, but later due to the overpopulation, people stocked a large number of cattle and sheep here for their livelihood, and the original ecological environment was destroyed. It became a piece of dry land, and gradually the soil quality here degraded, and the original lush forest became a sea of death with no grass. People have to migrate to other places in order to survive. Until 30 years ago, in order to prevent the continuous deterioration of the desert, the government made a grid sand barrier in the desertified area, using wicker inserted into a grid shape to lock the sand in the grid, and then planted a fast growth rate in the sand. For tall plants, the water source is the condition for plant growth. They introduced the Yellow River water here to form lakes and nourish the plants. For 30 years, 100,000 herdsmen have participated in desert control work. After years of hard work, great achievements have been made in the Desert Control Project, and herdsmen have finally seen a green home. As the world's largest desert greening project, Kubuki is already a textbook-level wonder of the world. In September 2017, the United Nations released the first report on ecological wealth. The reality is that Kubuki has restored and greened 6,253 square kilometers of desert, creating more than 500 billion yuan in ecological wealth and helping 100,000 local farmers and herdsmen out of trouble. The once raging sandstorm has long since become history. At present, the forest coverage rate in this desert is 15.7%, and the vegetation coverage rate is 53%, which has become a sample of desertification control in the world. In China, desert control is not only funded by the government, but many companies and ordinary people also donate funds voluntarily. For example, Jack Ma's Alibaba company has an app. People can use their own food, running, consumption, etc. to generate green energy to claim the desert. Trees. These trees will have your own name written on them. At present, people have planted 55.52 million trees in China's deserts through this app, protecting about 40,000 square meters of desert. These trees are important for preventing sandstorms and improving the environment. Played an irreplaceable role in the second, Muas Desert. The area of this desert is larger than that of Taiwan. It is located in Shaanxi province, covering 40,000 square kilometers. It is one of the 4 major deserts in China. 600 acres of sandy land has become fertile land, and the desert will soon disappear from the map. This desert Chinese took 50 years to govern. In the earliest days, the area of this desert green space was only 0.9%, which was pitifully small. The perennial dust invasion forced the 100,000 people living here to be relocated collectively. Since 1959, China has invested a lot of money in sand control for local farmers. The government contributes money and the people contribute, and farmers who participate in this work can also receive a salary to solve their own food and clothing problems. In the process of sand control, they carry out sand fixation work, divert water to remove sand, develop irrigation, plant trees, improve soil, and the government will also appropriately conduct artificial rainfall. After people's unremitting efforts, in just 60 years, nearly 600 mu of sandy land in the desert has become fertile land. There are 4 large protective forest belts of 1,500 kilometers. The afforestation area is 16.29 million mu, and the forest and grass coverage rate has increased from 0.9%. Raised to 25%, more than 6 million mu of the city's 8.6 million mu of quicksand has been fixed or semi-fixed, achieving a regional reversal of desertification. Really good results have been achieved, up to 6 tons per year. At the same time, roads were built in the desert, tourism was developed here, and the economy of local residents was improved. This is also a contest between human beings and the desert. Fortunately, after countless efforts, human beings have won the victory. The third, Tianma. This desert is less than 70 kilometers away from Beijing, the capital of China. The 200 mu desert can be said to be the smallest desert in the world, but its dust often floods farms and villages, blocking roads and railways. Every year, several tons of sand and dust flow into Beijing. It has seriously affected people's health and caused hundreds of millions of dollars in economic losses to China every year. The formation of this desert is still an unsolved mystery. The desert stretches for several miles, shining golden in the sun, and the bare ground is composed of purple-black coarse gravel, which shows that the sand in the desert is accumulated from the ground. When it rises, it is not one piece with the ground below. There is no sand source within a few hundred kilometers around the desert. It forms a peculiar scenery with the surrounding tourist attractions, ancient ruins and ancient castles. Since 2003, the government has sent 20,000 people here to form a desert control team to reclaim wasteland and afforestation here. There are a total of 2 million surviving trees, and the ecological environment here has been significantly improved. Now this desert is divided into 2 parts. One half is a film and television city, and the other half is a tourist base. Every year, countless tourists come here to play, and their film and television producers also come here to make movies. It is the best desert for human beings. Fourth, Taklamakan Desert. This desert is located in Xinjiang and is the largest desert in China. Not only building in this desert, several highways and a high-speed railway line have been built. There is a new city in this desert, with a population of more than 20,000. They come to control the sand. A large number of trees have been successfully planted on both sides of the road. Although there are more green plants than before, it seems to be far from the previous 3 deserts. The reason is that the rainfall in this desert is almost zero. Although China has discovered in recent years that there is a reservoir under this desert, it is extremely difficult to develop water resources in the desert. Without enough precipitation, it is impossible to talk about greening, but the Chinese have not given up on managing this desert, and since the transportation, they have also developed this place into a tourist attraction. Every year, many tourists come here. In addition to taking vacations, they also become volunteers and actively participate in the sand control work here. It is a long process for human beings to control deserts. We must respect nature while persevering in green development. Now, they not only grow abundant food on the farmland, but also successfully develop the desert as arable land. In the desert areas that used to be, through their agricultural technology, in arid areas without rain, potatoes, tomatoes, watermelons, and various vegetables have been grown. Comparable. However, these considerable status quo is the victory of nearly 200,000 people in China who spent nearly 100 years resisting the desert. I don't think any country on earth can have such patience and persistence.